Hey guys, I'm Shawn Cheek of WebPianoTeacher.com, back with you again for lesson 6 in our free beginner piano course on YouTube. 10 lessons completely free, and you can get the sheets for these lessons. Download them for free. You just got to look in the video description. I'll have instructions on how to do that. Some of you have already taken me up on that, and you're doing great. So let's get into this. Lesson 6. I have to remind you to not start at lesson 4 or 5 or whatever. Don't think, oh, I probably know some stuff. I'm just going to jump here in the middle. You need everything I say from the beginning, because if you're doing beginner lessons, whether you've had lessons before or not, there are things that everyone must do to succeed. How do I know that? Am I just smarter than everyone? No. Ask my wife. It's the wisdom I've gained and experience after doing this for almost 40 years. That's about how long I've been teaching. I've been a professional musician pretty much my whole life, been paid to play piano and in various things. And still today is what I do. So I'm telling you, I know what works and I know what doesn't work. And I don't want, if you're going to fail, I don't want it to be because you went down a wrong path that you didn't understand, because that's why a lot of people fail at it. Okay. Most people that start out to learn an instrument do not finish. How many people do you know that said, well, I took guitar lesson, took piano. Do you play now? No. How many people have done that? Okay, so very small percentage of people, but a lot of times that happens because they don't do the right things. They don't go the right avenue. They got love for music. They have dedication. They're willing to work hard, but they just aren't going about it the right way, and the teachers that they have are not helping them. And so that can be the reason for the failure. Now, I don't want that to happen to you. All right, I'm going to shoot you straight, okay? I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to tell you some things that might hurt your feelings, but hopefully it'll energize you and you'll actually end up learning to play. Because to me, that's success. What is success at piano, at an instrument? Success is if you're playing every day. I don't care what level you're on, okay? If you're playing just chord patterns, for Beatles songs, or if you're playing Elton John live solo performance stuff, no matter what you're playing, if you're someone who plays every day or most every day, you are a success, okay, right now. And you don't have to get to this high level before you can say, I can play piano. If you can play one song right now, you can play, in my book. Okay, so let's get to it. We're straight. Don't start in the middle. Start at lesson 1. Go through them one by one. Listen to everything, go all the way through. Don't skip. Download my sheets. Hit me up on that. I'll send you the sheets, and then you can mark them up. And there's some neat flashcard things I provide that you can use. All right. So lesson 6. What do we got? We are doing the 7 diatonic chords in the key of C. That sounds very technical, right? Something you get in a theory class in college. Well, I want you to know what some of these names are. Okay. When you talk with people about music and they say this is diatonic, I want you to know what they mean. And they're not hard. You just have to have someone explain it to you. That's what I'm here for. All right. So diatonic means that it's in the key. So we're going to learn chords today. We looked at the scale before, and then we played Let It Be. Hope you're enjoying that one and still enjoying Lean On Me that we did in earlier lessons. But the scale thing that we did, the key of C, is going to be how we talk about chords. So if you have not watched that scale video, that's lesson 4 or 5, can't remember. But if you haven't watched that, this is not going to make any sense to you, okay? So make sure you've watched that scale lesson. Diatonic just means it's in the key of C. So you have a group of chords that are automatically native, family, home to the key of C, and then a lot of other chords that are not. Okay, so diatonic just means it's part of that language. It's part of that key. Okay, and we're going to get into chords big time. If you're a praise and worship person, you want to play praise and worship, and you don't want to know what chords are. You want to be able to read chord sheets, lead sheets, we call them. This is vital, okay, to you. And you don't find many teachers actually teaching this very well, so this will be very important to you. Or you're a gigging musician, and you just want to read chord sheets. This is very important for you. And also the other way, if you're reading traditional music notation or you're playing by ear, it's helpful to know what chord you're on, because it's a roadmap. Okay, I want to know what I'm saying when I'm saying it. I don't want to just push buttons. I want to know what's going on. And that's what knowing chords will help you to do. So I have check boxes in all 3 of those, because remember, you're making the decision. Am I going to be a traditional note reader? Am I going to want to learn how to read actual music? Great skill to have. Not applicable to all types of playing, though. Most people don't realize this is not what they need, and they think they go that way, and they're wanting to play is fun songs on the piano, like the Beatles or Billy Joel or Carole King or the Eagles, and the reading music does not get you there. All right, but the chord sheets stuff, this is right up your alley here today, and everyone needs to know this. So that's why I put check boxes in all of them. Because if you're a traditional note reader, it helps to know what the chord is. You know how many note readers can read the spots off the page, but they don't even know what chord they're playing? I've met some high-level sight readers. They don't know what a chord is. I couldn't fathom that they have played that long in their life and they never know what chords are. I mean, it's like the Wizard of Oz staying in black and white and never going to color. That's what it's like, not knowing what chords are. So this is applicable to everyone. Okay, so we're going to get into this lesson. It's going to be a long lesson. So if you can't pay attention more than 5 minutes, then you probably should just go ahead and go now. But we're going to learn a lot of good stuff that you need if you're going to be a musician, which is what I bring up. I bring up musicians, all right, not copycat robots. So first thing, practice. When you're practicing, this is you just playing your instrument. Give you some advice here. Same time every day, a space that's all your own, optional headphones, okay? So the reason that I say that, same time every day, is because this is just a little advice. You ever wanted to start a habit in your life, and if you do it the first thing in the morning, you tend to keep doing it because we make sure that we do it. We let other things get in the way. We don't do that thing. So whatever it is for you, if it can't be the first thing in the morning, okay, but we can just get up a little earlier, right? And then provide that 15 minutes for ourselves. But it helps to make it the same time every day, not when I get to it, okay? Make it a same time every day thing. Doesn't have to be an hour. It can just be, 15, 20 minutes. We'll do it. If you'll do it every day, yeah, that's enough. It really is. But same time every day helps. A space that's just your own. Don't put your piano in the middle of the living room, okay, where people are trying to cook and talk and watch TV. Have it be your own. Now, it's okay to have a piano in the living room, okay, for, get-togethers and all of that, but wherever you practice, you need that to be your own space, okay? Maybe it's a time where nobody's home, then that's okay. But it needs to be just you where no one's going to interfere with that and where no one has to listen to you practice. Because even if it's good, no one wants to listen to that, right? No one wants to listen to me practice. Optional headphones, because headphones really help that out. If you are in the living room and you can't help that, and you have an electronic, just put the headphones on and then you're fine. They're fine. The only thing they'll hear is the clicking of the keys, which is a lot easier to tolerate. When you practice, I want you to spend about 1/3 of your time on whatever the new thing is, and the other 2/3 playing old songs. Here's the formula, and I'm telling you this, and you just may not listen and not do it, and okay, but I'm telling you, if you'll do it this way, it will work. And the people who actually learn to play and play the rest of their lives and play in gigging bands and enjoy music the rest of their lives, this is how they do it. I'm telling you that, okay? Nobody knows this for some reason, but I'm telling you right now, when you practice, spend 1/3 of the time on the new thing. So the new thing today is the chord stuff. So you're going to spend at least 1/3 of your time on the new thing, whatever's new. Why do you do it that first? Because your brain's freshest. Whatever's new, you need the most concentration. Before, in the other lesson, maybe it was let it be. So you spend 1/3 of your time on the new thing. But the rest of the time, what else do we know? You have the say it, play it to do. If you don't know what that is, you haven't watched my other lessons. You need to do that. You need to play Lean on Me. You know that one, right? Don't learn it and go, okay, I'm never going to play that again. It's still a great song. Keep playing it the rest of your life. Play it every day today. I mean, you'll eventually have other songs you learn that will replace that one. But for right now, play it every stinking time you sit down to play the piano. Play Lean on Me over and over. Play Let It Be over and over. Let It Be, okay? Play that one too, over and over. And you spend the rest of the time on those old songs. You're going to get where you have 10, 15, 20. People don't believe me when I say this. 10, 15, 20 songs that are fairly easy that you can play because you play them every day a little bit. It takes a lot of time to learn a song, but then once you learn it, you really learn it, it doesn't take much time at all to just keep it going. Just play it a little bit. But play those old songs every day, a little bit of the time, 1/3 about on the new thing, and then the rest of the time playing your old songs. You're going to get so much knowledge and understanding from playing the songs that you already know. Trust me on that, will you? You haven't learned everything you need to know just when you get to that place where, okay, I can play this one. Keep playing it, keep playing it, keep playing it. And that 50, 75th time you play it, there's going to be something that happens that didn't happen the first time you played it, okay? So that's how we practice. The next point I want to remind you of, review all lessons, especially say it, play it, lean on me a little bit. Oh, I just said that, right? So I was already covering what I was, and that proves my point that I've been teaching this way for decades because it works. Okay, I figured out what works, and I just do it that way. Keep a physical journal. Okay, a physical journal, one that you write in with a pen. Why am I insisting on that? I don't know. I just know that it works. Okay, I don't know why it's better than typing a journal. Writing with your own handwriting with an actual pen on actual paper is a personal connection, I guess. Maybe that's why it works better. But where you're just keeping track of what you're doing every day, and you have a list of running songs that you can play. Maybe they're not perfect, but you can play them. I can get through them. I can give myself an 80 or an 85 on them, and I can play all these songs, and it's very encouraging when you have that list going, and it keeps getting longer, okay? All right, so... and in your journal, you should always have the new song written that you're working on, the running list of learned. There it is again. See, I didn't even look at that. I'm kind of just going through from memory, and just to prove that this is the way I always do it. I'm not running on the fly here. This is the way it works. Your daily accomplishments, what you've done that day. Or you can say, man, this dang song is so hard. You can write that in there too. Keep a journal. Now we're getting into the chord part, the new lesson, all right? So I'm saying things that I already said, but that's what a teacher has to do. Any of you who are teachers out there know that a lot of the learning is you saying the same thing 50 times before it finally gets through. But if we don't say it 50 times, then it never gets through, and we can't ever expect the student to, they need the 50 times, okay? We need it. So if you're a teacher, keep doing it. Okay, so this is kind of my own style, own way of developing things to teach it in a way that I feel that people will get and remember. Remember the C scale. Oops. My piano was not on, so I'm turning it on now. There we go. Remember the C scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're back to 1. Okay? So, in green, highlighted is the C scale. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are the scale degrees. The ladder. Each rung in the ladder has a letter name. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And C is 1. A is not 1. I know that A begins the alphabet, but A is only 1 if I'm in the key of A. When I'm in the key of C, C is 1, and C is where I start. It's my family. It's my home. It's where I start, okay? So get that in your mind that whatever key you're in, that's 1. There's a reason that there's capital Roman numerals there and lowercase Roman numerals on those, and we'll talk about that. So C, I'm going to make a chord on that, just like there are 7 diatonic scale degrees. There are also 7 diatonic chords. If I played a chord with my thumb being each one of those green, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then I'm back to C. Those are the diatonic chords in the key of C. And you say, well, you just didn't play the black keys. That's right, because the piano is fashioned for C to be the neutral key with where all the white keys are in the key of C. That's why it's made that way. That's why the black keys are where they are. That's why there's 5 black keys, and there's half steps where they happen, because it's fashioned for the key of C. Okay? All right. So, and of course we can play in all the other keys, but C is the easiest because of all the white keys. Now, when I make a chord, you're going to have, it's called a triad, okay? Oh, I wrote it right here, triad. All right, proof again that this, I've taught this so many times, and I haven't even looked over this. I wrote this sheet out, and it's been days and days, but I just teach the same way, and I have for decades. But a triad here is the nicest, neatest way you can play a chord. And you just have a skip note in the middle, right? C, E, G, and it makes harmony. It makes it pretty. C and E sound good together, so do E and G. And C and G, it all sounds good together, 3 notes. So every time you play a chord from here for the rest of your life, the basis of that chord is 3 notes. Unless you're playing on the guitar and they call something a power chord, then they're just playing a 5th. But that's not really a chord, because guitars will go and they'll play, 2 notes, just a 5th. That's not really a chord to me. You have to have all 3. Now, chords can have more than 3, but 3 is the minimum. All right, unless you're a guitar player who wants to call a power chord a full chord. All right, C, E, G. Then we have, the triad. We move up to D, F, A. Okay, D's the green on the bottom. So the name of the chord is the bottom note. When it's in root position, it's only nice and neat like that when it's in what we call root position, okay? When you have a note and a third and a third. When I say third, I just mean 3 letters away. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And you count the note you start with. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's a third here, a third here. This is called a 5th. C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You count the note you start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 5th. This is a third. C, D, E, I said 3 letters. E, F, G, I said 3 letters. It's a third, 5th. Get it? Okay? Same thing on this. Third, 5th. D, F, A. E, G, B is my 3 chord. 1, 2, 3. D was the 2 chord. E was the 3 chord. There's a reason these are circled. We'll talk about it in a minute. F, A, C is my 4 chord. And again, it has the third, and the 5th. G, B, D is the 5 chord. Okay, and again, it's built in thirds with a 5th on the outside. My 6th chord is an A chord, and I'm naming it by the bottom note because it's in root position. B, D, F is the 7 chord. It sounds weird, doesn't it? It's because it's called a diminished chord. It's kind of the cousin no one talks about, the 7 chord. It's kind of weird. We don't really, we kind of stay away from it in most music. But it's there. It's part of it. And then we're back to C, E, G, the 1. Now, you see those big Roman numerals. The 1, the 4, and the 5, okay? Those are very important in music. So you've seen the videos where the guy goes, 4 chords. You can play any song with 4 chords. That's a straight up lie because telling people you can just learn 4 chords and play any song, that's not true because you don't know what inversion to play the chord in. You don't know what key it's in because it's different. It's a different 4 chords if you go to a different key, and you don't know what style to play it in. So you're missing so many things. So you can't just know 4 chords and play any song. But 3 of those chords they're talking about when they say no 4 chords are the primary chords, the 1, the 4, and the 5. And then that 4th chord they're talking about is probably the minor 6. And we'll look at that as well. But the most important chords you'll ever play, 1, 4, and 5. And you've heard people say this too. You can pretty much play any song with 3 chords, especially country songs or a hymn or something. That's true. 1, 4, and 5. So in any key you play in, this one's important, that one's important, that 1, 4, 5. Now, if we were in a different key, let's say this first thing was, G, G, B, D. Then G would be 1. We haven't even looked at the key of G. It would be a different set of letter chords, G, B, D, and the 4 would be C, E, G, and the 5 would be D, F sharp, A. But the functionality would stay the same. Let me say that again. The functionality, 1, 4, and 5 would still behave the same way. 1 would still be home. It would just be a G chord instead of a C chord. 4 would still be an awesome chord, the 4 chord, but it would be a C chord instead because that family is different, okay? But learning the functions, that's why it's important to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on your chords and to name them that way because then we learn how they function because they only function a few ways. And once we figure that out, then music makes a lot more sense than it did before. All right, 1, 4, 5. So when you play in the key of C, okay, you're going to expect a C chord, an F chord, and a G chord. You got to expect that. And we played them all over the place in Lean On Me and Let It Be. Okay? 1, 4, 1, 5, 7, actually, but it's a 5 chord. Yeah, Let It Be. 1, 5, minor 6. And it's a 4, major 7. But 4, you hear I'm saying 1, 4, and 5. They're very, very prevalent. And you can get any country song in the key of C, and you're going to have 1, 4, and 5 all over the place, okay? So remember that they're called primary chords. They're the most important. They're the strongest in the family, okay? 1 is, home. 4 is, left and right punch. 4 and 5. 1, 4, and 5 are the primary chords. Don't forget that. If you don't know any of the other ones, okay, but know 1, 4, and 5 when you're playing in any key. Okay? They're capital because they're major chords. They sound happy. 5 chord. 1. Right, but listen to DFA. Oh no, I'm sad now. It's still sad. A minor is sad. BDF sounds like a lot of tension. The diminished, that little circle with the... There's. All right, so the minor chords sound sad. There's a reason they sound sad, sad. Okay? I want to tell you real quick why they sound sad, and I'll say it a lot of times later on, but just so you know, because some of you wonder, what makes the difference between a major and a minor chord? Why does this one sound happy? This one sounds sad. It's the middle note. If the middle note is in its raised position, it's major. If it's in its lowered position, it's minor. What that means is DFA... If I made the F a sharp, then it would sound major. But that's not how the key of C works. F is minor. See, so you can go to any key, the 2 is going to be minor every time. 3 is minor. 6 is minor. See, this template of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 can be laid on top of any key we do. I'm just showing the key of C here. But the reason the C, E, G sounds happy is because it's E instead of E flat. If I lowered it, then it sounds minor. So it's if the middle note is in its lowered or raised position. You can play around with this a little bit. Let's try GBD. Sounds happy, right? Let's make it minor. Lower it now a tier. How about ACE? It's minor. Let's make it major. Let's raise that middle note. Okay? So you could take each one of these major minor chords. In fact, this is an assignment, okay? Take the major chords, make them minor. Take the minor chords, make them major, just for fun, just to see. Now, that's not what you do in the key of C, but I'm just having you practice between a major and a minor chord. Major and minor. Major's the raised middle note, and minor is when it's in its lowered position. And you'll get used to all that. Today's very new for you. C, E, G, major, minor, DFA, minor, major, by raising it. So minor, it's already lowered. I'm going to raise that G to make a G sharp to make a major. This has nothing to do with the diatonic. I just kind of go as I go, and I know questions that go through your mind because people have asked me for decades. FAC, minor, if I make that AA flat, this is kind of bonus stuff. So this is not really part of this lesson. GBD, make the B flat, make it B flat. Now it's minor. Okay, so that's the difference between a major and minor chord, is that middle note. Because I'm throwing out major and minor, you're like, well, what's the difference? That's the difference. If it's in raised position, it's major. Lowered position, it's minor. And you can tell by the sound of it, okay? But in the key, in the way that the diatonic chords work in a major key, 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished. And we're back to 1. Every key. I could play in any key. I could go in the key of G, do the same thing. Watch. So I got to account for the F sharp that's in the key of G. Those chord qualities are still the same. Major 1, major 4, major 5, minor 6. That doesn't change. The function stays the same. And that's how piano players can go from key to key, and it doesn't phase them because, some piano players, doesn't phase them because they know the functions. They know how they're thinking of 1, 4, 5 instead of C, F, G, okay? So it's helpful to to thinking both ways. Now, you're probably thoroughly confused. No, maybe you don't totally get it, but you kind of get it. That's all I need you to do. I'm kind of getting this. It's sort of making sense. That's how it works, okay? It's going to sink in. It's going to, after seeing it so much, because I'll talk about these things every time we play a song. You'll get sick of me talking about the major chords, the primary chords. Maybe you won't get sick. But, yeah, when I teach songs, I talk about all this stuff. But now you know what I'm talking about because we're doing the beginner lessons here for free. Triad vocabulary. This is a term that I saw one time and I've never forgotten it and I've just kept using it. Triad vocabulary. So I'm going to zoom closer so that you can see all those at once. And again, you can download these sheets. Okay, there's no catch. Just follow the directions in the description box and you'll have these sheets to be able to print them out. Use this. My lesson series will help you tremendously, whether you continue using my lessons on my website or not, okay? Whatever you use, that they will help you tremendously, and they will help you gauge when you go to other lessons and go, no, I remember Shawn said, let's not follow this guy because he's telling me to do something that Shawn said was not good, or this is good. This guy, I like this. He's doing this, so I'm going to follow this. So these lessons are helpful, whichever way you go. All right, so here's the triad vocabulary, okay, for every chord you can ever talk about from the beginning of time will be one of these 7. Now, you can put sharps and flats on them. You can have extra notes for the chord. A chord can have, a chord can be, more than 3 notes. It could be a 9 or an 11 or sharp 13, whatever. We can make jazzy chords out of it, but the foundation of the chord is always simple, is always 3. You can add stuff to it, but when you boil it down, this is it. So really, in green, we have root position chords that we just looked at, but I have them written out in letter form here. C, E, G, D, F, A. E, G. Remember we just did that? And I just had it on the staff for you. Okay? So this is... my phone doesn't always agree with me. Okay. C, E, G is a root position. Now, if we go through these... That's what we just played, okay? It's a triad vocabulary. So what you want to memorize, okay, I'm giving you another assignment. Besides your make some flashcards out of this, okay? Print this puppy out right here, okay? And blow it up and print it out and cut out these squares, all these rectangles. Do it now, okay? So print it out. Or make it big on this sheet. You guys know how to do that. Take a screen, zoom it big and take a screenshot, and then you print it out, and then you can take some scissors and cut out the flashcards here. But cut out each rectangle, okay? But these on the left are the names of those chords. And let's take the first chord, C, E, G. I want you to memorize that. Can you memorize C, E, G? C, E, G, C, E, G. So that anytime you see any combination of C, E, or G, you know it's a C chord, because that's the recipe for a C chord. I can mix the notes up, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a C chord. I'm going to say that again because you just missed it. I can mix those notes up. C, E, G, I can say them in a different order. I can have 2 C's or 1 E or 1 G, but the recipe is always the same. If I have C, E, G, I don't care what order they come in, which one's on top, which one's on the bottom. If I have C, E, G, it is a C chord. Okay? So when you see this, let's move over here to the right, which is not green. And you see E, G, C. Well, what is that? What chord is that? Is that an E chord? No. What are the letters? C, E, G. So that rings a bell in your mind. None of these others on the whole page have C, E, G. Only this top. Okay? So I can say E, G, C. I can play it this way. Look, G, C, E. What chord is that? Is that a G chord? No. What is it? It's still a C chord because it's C, E, G. It only has the name of the chord on the bottom when I have it in root position. C, E, G, root position. Then you can look at the bottom note and say, oh, C chord. But I can play it E, G, C, G, C, E. And then I can even do it this way. I can go, Look at that. I'm going to go E, C, G. That's a weird way to play it. Or I can do it this way. G, E, C. Or C, G, E. The left hand commonly will play the chord this way. It's all spread out and mixed up. It doesn't matter. The recipe is C, E, G. So that's why I want you to memorize. When I had little kids teaching them lessons, they always said rememberize. I rememberized that, and I kind of like that. Because you remember and you memorize. Rememberize. C, E, G. Doesn't matter. When you see a combination, and I do maybe, whoops, I do this. That's a C chord. I can reduce that down to C, E, G. Because that's the ingredients of the chord. Have you memorized C, E, G? Have I said it enough times to where you know C, E, G? It's burned and branded into your brain, okay? C, E, G. The next one is D, F, A. I'm not going to spend that much time on each one, okay? You can do that. D, F, A. That's another one. Try vocabulary. Memorize the sound of that, of it coming off your tongue. D, F, A, D, F, A, D, F, A, D, F, A, D, F, A. Any form of DFA. And these are some of the forms that you can play DFA. You can play it FAD, ADF, or this way. As long as it has some form of, you're unscrambling it. Okay, remember the word scrambles? And we unscramble the word? Because there's one way that it works. And we can just see the scrambled up way and go, oh, okay, I know what that is because I can unscramble it. That's kind of what you're doing here. But you have to know the vocabulary of DFA. CEG, DFA. How many are there? There's 7, because there's 7 letters, right? Now I can put, later on, I might, say I'll play a C minor and it'll be C, E flat, G. But guys, the letters did not change. It's still CEG. Yes, the E is flat. Let me do it a different way. Let me play C, E, G sharp. Augmented chord. That's a weird, wacky chord. The letters are still C, E, G. I know the G is sharp, but the letter did not change. Memorize that letter, those letters. I could even put flats on all of them. C flat, E flat, G flat. But the letters didn't change. That's why CEG is so important. These are the DNA blocks for every chord. That's a good way to say it. This is the DNA. Rememorize the DNA for each of the 7 chords, and you'll be set. You'll be set. You really will if you'll actually do it. Okay? DFA. Here's another one. EGB. I'll do a little something for you here that I've always been able to do. CEG, DFA, EGB, FAC, GBD, ACE, BDF. I just did the triad vocabulary because I've rememorized those words or those chords. CEG, DFA, EGB, FAC, GBD, ACE, BDF. Got caught up. That's what I want you to do. I want you to be able to do that. DFA, EGB, FAC, GBD, ACE, BDF. And you can even practice doing this. If you want extra credit, practice the first 3 of these. These aren't so important, but these. And then you're back. The first 3 are the ways that you play chords. CEG, first inversion. This is called first inversion. EGC, it's an inversion. I flipped it on its head by putting the C up here. And I play it 1, 2, 5. GCE. And guess what? Guess what? Guess what? My kids. Guess what, Dad? Guess what? Guess what? All of these feel the same way when you do the inversions. DFA, FAD feels the same way, ADF. So once you can play the first one, you can play all 7. Don't you like that? Don't you love that when you can work something out one way and then it works for all the other chords? It does. So practice your inversions. CEG, DFA. So when you do your flashcards and you cut these out, is that it? Yeah. And you cut these out, okay? I want you to set the green ones on in one side for just studying them, okay? And then you have all these others, and then you have them in your hand, and you put one down and go, which chord is it? And if it doesn't pop into your mind, then you can look at the green and say, oh, it's FAC. And then you do next one, next white one. And then you match it with the G. If you don't remember, just take a look at the green ones so that it starts to visually come up in your mind, and you start to recognize what those letters are, okay? Don't sit there and figure it out. Just find which green one it matches, what 3 letters it is, okay? So that you can name every chord, because you need to know that's an A minor chord, or that's an A chord, that's an F chord, that's a E chord, that's a D chord, that's a B chord, Okay. And I just looked at those because they just kind of rearranged for me in my mind because I'm so used to playing chords, which you're going to be used to doing after I talk your ear off about chords every song we play. Remember Lean On Me? C chord. That's this. Now we're doing, remember Wax On, Wax Off, Karate Kid? Now we're going to learn what we did. D minor, that was this, F-A-D. G-B, that was the E minor chord. F-A-C, that was the F-A-C chord. Back down. La, 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 la. That was a G7. I don't want to teach that to you yet. I don't want to give you too much, make your brain explode. Let's do Let It Be. Where is it? Yeah, E, C, G. Okay, one chord. That's the GBD chord, and I played it like this, GBD. What about that chord? When you did Let It Be, where's that? A, C, E. There it is. That's an ACE over an F bass, but we can get complicated. There are some variables that happen, but basically, this is what it's all about, is knowing this tri-vocabulary. So make your flashcards, okay? Study the green and say EGB, FAC, GBD, ACE, BDF, CEG, DFA, EGB, FAC, G, over and over. Then set them there and then cut these out and have them in your hand and put down one at a time and be able to name the chord. And then sit down and play your inversions. Da, da, and then the next one you get back into that, and then this one feels the same way. Okay, just go up, and you'll be going super slow. Find that mold for each one. Okay, so when you play chord sheets, and you're playing, praise and worship chord sheet, or maybe you're playing a rock song or a pop song, and there's no difference between the music-wise. Between the praise and worship and the rock songs, the pop songs. Music is music. It doesn't matter what the lyrics are, what the song's about, what the instrument's being played. Chords are inherently the way they are. Okay? God made them, so that's just the way they are. When you're playing a chord sheet and it has a big C on it, you have a choice of how you want to play that first. The next chord says G. I go to G. And I'm playing the chord this way, BDG, because to go here would be too far. I just want to stay close. So I'll play the inversion. A minor. Minor 6. That's would be playing it this way. C, E, A. Minor 6. 4 chord. That would be CFA. 1, 4. Did you hear how I called out 1, 4, 5, and then the minor 6? Those are the 4 chords that you can play any song with, which you can't. That's very deceiving. You can't learn 4 chords, then you can play any song. There's so much more. But it's fun exploring and getting to the place where you can use those 4 chords in any key and learning the style and learning what inversion to do to play any song you want to. Okay, so this was a long lesson, and it was a kind of a lecture type thing, but you need that. You needed that, and so I don't apologize for that. I'm really fighting this culture of, 10-second videos, and because nobody can learn it, nobody can sit still long enough to learn anything, and we feel like, oh, it's helping us learn better. No, it's not. It's really not. It's going the opposite direction. So we have to still be able to sit and listen to a lecture, to write down notes, and to proceed and to learn. I mean, that's really the best way to do anything, to learn anything. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Again, look in the description to get those downloadable sheets, and you can have, they're high resolution. I send them to you in the high resolution form. You can print them out, you can mark on them, and you can use them. Help yourself decide, am I going to go the traditional note reading route? Do I want to play classical and piano solo arrangements with melody in the right hand? Or do I want to learn that skill? Do I want to play by chord? Do I actually just want to learn what chords are so I can jump right in and start playing fun songs today? Or do I want to do Shawn's whiteboard method, where I learn to play by ear, and I also learn to play chords, and I kind of learn how to read music too because it's on a staff. So now you kind of see why my method has been so successful, because it kind of covers all three in an easy way, that's in an easy format that works for most people. So, which I've had great success with it over the years, and it's still going better than ever. Well, great to have you guys here, and I'll see you in the next one, okay?